You up? It's time for some coffee. Hot, bold, and full of flavor. Tanya McKenzie and Gia Sneed are my morning coffee.
Greetings, good people. Welcome back to another episode of My Morning Coffee, where the conversation is always hot, bold,
and full of flavor.
I know it's been a minute, but we're back. And we have a dope guest for you today. But before we get into that, let's see what is in Gia's cup and what she has been up to.
Morning, y'all. I have coffee in my cup. You see my cup? It's so cute, huh? I like it, yeah. So I have coffee in my cup. I'm going to have a sip right now. And what have I been up to? I've been up to I guess some people say I've been up to a lot. And I probably would say I haven't been up to nothing because that's normally me. You know, I could probably be saving the world and I'll still would say, I haven't been up to nothing. But, you know, I've been gone because, you know, it's been a minute. And if any new listeners, I'm kind of living a bi-coastal life. So I'm back and forth between LA and Georgia. So I've been I was in Atlanta. Well, not Atlanta. Everybody says Atlanta, but actually I was in Fayetteville, which is I guess a suburb of Atlanta, but you know, that kind of thing. So my plan was I had to go there to take care of some property business, and I was going to be there for like, I was only going to be there like for a week, but then my trip got extended because while I was there, I met a young lady. Well, I've known her via social media for a while. I've been following her. We're following each other, but I actually finally met her in person. And she told me about an event, a conference that was going to be happening actually in my area. So, and she was like, you should try to attend. It was called Artpreneur. So I checked it out, and I was able to get in. So I extended my trip for the conference, but also I had a chance to get stuff done around the house too. So I was taking care of business and having fun meeting some phenomenal women out there. It was really a good trip. I met some young ladies. They're all creatives and stuff. And it was just nice being in a space with people that are like, I guess that are like me. And Tanya and I, we talk about this a lot sometime, you know, our spaces that we're in. And a lot of us wear different hats. We're in a lot of spaces, like Tanya and I, sorority sisters. We have a sorority sister space. And, you know, Tanya's this, you know, she's this guru PR, and she has her PR space, and I'm a creative. I have a creative space, and we're entrepreneurs. We have those spaces and stuff. And so going somewhere else, somewhere different, and meeting women that, you know, that look like me, they were like me, we had a lot of things in common, and just how they embraced me, how they welcomed me in. So, you know, so I did a post, and I was just like, I found my tribe. And it was just, I don't know what made me make that post. It just came over me. It was just, I just felt like I belonged there when I was with them. And when you have that feeling, it's a good feeling, especially when you haven't had that feeling in so long. And people just assume when they see you every day that, you know, you're in different places, that you're there, you feel as though you are a part. And sometimes we are in spaces that we don't really feel as though we belong, but we're there, you know, that kind of thing. So just being somewhere, and was just like, these women, they were all positive, encouraging. You know, it wasn't no, you know, sometimes when you get with women, it can be kind of catty. Are you the new girl? You come on the scene and everybody looking at you sideways, and, you know, it kind of standoffish. But it wasn't that way with these group of women. And so it was just a good feeling, especially being in a different state and, you know, different area that I'm not familiar with. So that was also a plus and made me feel good. But I think what really got me into the group, you know how you say you got something happens and you get in. I think really what happened is I had Jeff, you know, Jeff's been making these phenomenal cakes, the caramel pecan toffee pound cake. And he happened, somebody in Georgia had ordered a cake from my sister. So he had shipped the cake, and he had shipped some extra cakes. So we were talking, because I'm doing a pop-up out there. So I was asking her if she had any more space for vendors. And I was just telling her about Jeff and the cake. So I showed her a picture of the cake, and when she saw the cake, she was like, "Oh yeah, I got room for him. I got room for that, that kind of thing." So just so happened, then she said, well, "Wait a minute, we don't even know if the cake is good. How do I know this cake? That kind of stuff." And I said, "Well, as a matter of fact, he's shipping some cake. I'm going to have some cake." So I said, "I think he's sending me some extra cake. If he does, I'll bring one down here for you. I'll give you, cake." So again, I got the cake finally, and I took it to her. And when I took it to her, I didn't know she was having an event in her space. So I went there to take it. And she wasn't there. So I left the cake there. I said, "Oh, I have this cake for Karen. Her name is Karen Baxter. And I said, "I have this cake, it's for Karen and stuff." And her friends were there. I was like, "Well, what kind of cake is it? Is you bring enough for all of us?" And all this kind of stuff. So I think it might not have really been me that they really was embracing. I think it was the cake. Now I think about it, could have been the cake, but I don't know. We'll see. So I'm just saying, because
her inner fat girl was talking.
Yeah,
I'm gonna make some.
Yeah, and it was like over and stuff. So I don't know. Kudos to Jeff and the cake. Jeff might have got me in. I might have given him the props instead of myself. But
finding his wife some new friends. Keep baking. Keep baking.
So yes, I was there doing stuff, and now I'm back here and getting ready for a jazz event I'm doing on Saturday. So I'm just busy. And you think, I said, okay, I'll stay and I'll come back home this day. I'll have plenty of time to get ready for this and get ready for that. And I feel like I don't have plenty of time. I feel like right now overwhelmed, like I got a lot of stuff to do, and the event is on Saturday.
The cool thing is being retired. If you don't do it, ain't nobody gonna book you.
Well, that's true, but but when you run in a business, you got to get some things done. And you know me, I'm a woman of my word. If I say I'm gonna be somewhere, I'm gonna do something. I try to do it. So that's in the back. And then then I have you on the shoulder. I have a list of things that Tanya says Gia needs to do and wants Gia to do. So I try to do those things sometime. I know you think I don't, but I do have that little list. So I'm trying. It's a slow process for me because that's again I take baby steps. I don't jump into everything full force all the time. I take my time, and I know that probably gets on your nerves because you're like, come on, because you're more fast about it because it's probably because you got 4 damn kids and you've had to always be doing something. Whereas me, I just got Ella, so me and Ella, we chill, so we don't have to always, oh, look at you got your cute cup. I always have to be moving as fast. So but I posted something last night on social media. And I thought everybody was asleep, but obviously your ass wasn't asleep because you saw the post, or maybe you saw this morning, and you commented on the post. And I saw your comment, and I shared it with Jeff. And I said, Jeff, I'm not even going to comment on Charlie's comment because I said I'm not even going to give her the satisfaction, because she's you kind of like put me out there in your comment, and stuff. And I was like, oh, okay, I see how it is. But yes, I don't know if we'll get into that today or some other day, but I watched the whole entire 3 hours, just to let you know, the whole entire 3 hours. So yeah.
Okay, so it's Taurus season, and we don't really hold back. And I was actually just applauding you. It wasn't meant to be shade. It was meant to say, I'm so proud of you for being astute with Black culture, current events, because usually your response is, I don't give a fuck, and I don't care, and I don't want to talk about it.
And as you say that, okay, what I listened to last night, what I watched for 3 hours, a key word came up: words matter. And if the way you said it, I don't know if it was encouraging. I don't know if I took it as encouraging. So maybe we need to
should I use the clapping emojis next time?
Maybe we should work on our words because it was
maybe
like
less words, more emojis.
I was like, oh, she's throwing shade. I said, okay, she's trying to throw some shade on me, on my. And I was
on my
everybody else on their post. Don't come on my post doing this because this is my post. I was gonna go there. I was like, no, I'm not even gonna go there. With her.
I'm so thrilled. Just to get a reaction from you is like a really big deal for me. So I feel like I did really good to get a reaction from you. Like and I hadn't even had my coffee yet. Hey, Miss Deborah. She says it is raining out in Kansas today. So happy to see you here. Thank you for being here with us. We got a dope guest we'll bring on shortly as soon as Gia's done scolding me about shading her on her own post. So thank you for being here. I did want to say something really quick. What's in my coffee cup is coffee. I definitely need that. Roman is playing volleyball now. So now I'm a volleyball mom also.
Oh, wow.
Okay, like Ray just went to his first volleyball tournament or volleyball game and was just blown away. Just blown away. So the kid is good. He's really good and he loves the sport. So now I'm a basketball mom, baseball mom, softball mom, volleyball mom. It's a
Wow.
lot. It's a
You a
lot.
lot of moms. Yeah.
But number one, I'm a podcast co-host with Gia, and I'm just happy to be here with her. Yay!
Yay. I'm happy you're here and happy to be here with me as a co-host.
Oh my god! So we'll get into okay. So what she's talking about is the Amanda Seales interview with Shannon Sharp. We are going to have to cover that on a different show because there's a few different things that we are going to have to talk about. One is as a podcaster, does he know what he's doing? Like, I
No.
understand he brings on the guests and all that good stuff, but there is something to be said about how you ask questions and interact with guests. We'll
Yeah.
get all into that. Amanda,
Yeah.
couple things need to be said about that interview, and be with us next week. We'll be back and we're going to hit that topic. Today, though, we're going to talk about money and finances and someone that can help talk women through. I mean, and men too. You know, y'all get a little something, but for the most part, she specializes in helping women understand their finances. One of the things that's most surprising, it's not surprising, I've heard it before, but every time I hear it, it kind of throws me, is how women are the ones that have less financial control in relationships, and they're the ones that usually live the longest. So they have less control, they have less knowledge, they're less empowered about money, but they're usually the ones that are still here after he leaves or leaves her or just leaves, whatever. Anyways, let's go ahead and bring on Miss Tanya Frias. How you doing?
Hello, how are you?
I am good and so glad that you are here. We are excited. As you know, Gia is newly retired and I am a mom of four. So we're both business owners, and there's a lot of women out that watch the show, and we're looking forward to hearing what you have to say. So give us a little something about yourself. I heard you have a story to tell us.
I guess a lot of people think that people in finance or people who are work in managing money, that they've always been good at it, or that they had some sort of solid foundation that makes them, at least the perception that they're better at this than other people. And that's not true. I started my career at 22 years old. I fell into finance. I just wanted a job that allowed me to get out on time for me to make it to class. I was in my last year of undergrad, and I took a job at Prudential Financial, and I thought I was a secretary, but apparently I was not. I was an assistant to traders, and I needed to take these exams to get these licenses in order to do my job. They gave me 3 months to do it. I knew nothing about finance or trading or the stock market. And I did take those exams, passed them while working full time and going to school full time. No one gave me time to actually pass these exams. And I ended up loving it, right? I ended up loving the process of learning on what does it mean to invest, how do you invest, the different strategies. Now, mind you, my background, we didn't talk about that. No one in my family knew anything about investing. Um, the only conversations we had around finance were, you should save money, but no one really tells you how to do that, or understand the dynamic that there wasn't that much money, and how do you save it if you don't have enough to save. So that started my career at 22 years old. And I mean, I've been a certified financial planner for around 17 years. I was in traditional financial services for almost 22. Now I work in the startup space. But yeah, I had to learn all those things. I'm the same way everyone has had to sort of figure it out, except that, my job kind of depended on it, me learning.
You know what? It seems like that. In I think I'm gonna say in the Black community, especially with a lot of Black women, that's been our life. We've had to figure it out. We had to learn. We've on the job training with everything, with every aspect of it. You know, you have on the job training with your job, but it seems like that's something that happens with us a lot. We're learning on the job. You know, as we go. Nobody's really taught us. And you're right. Growing up, you always was told save money, but we never got the tools to know how to save. Actually, what that really meant was, it sounds good. Oh yeah, save your money. You know, and yeah, when we did, some of us got allowance, and you say, okay, I'm gonna put 10 cents aside in my little bank. You know, you had the little piggy bank. That's how you say, you were saving money. But we never really were taught, I guess, really the aspects, or it wasn't really broken down to us. And even in adulthood, like you said, you got a job and you went in for one job and found that wasn't the job you were getting. You were doing something on the fly. And you're right. We do assume when you're in finance, oh, she or he, oh, they know so much about money, they this and that. And sometimes you're right, you didn't originally, but you had to learn because of the circumstances. And as a woman who, I think, well, I've been on my, being on your own, being single. I was single for a long time. So I didn't have, I come from a single parent home, so I didn't have, two parents, didn't have no daddy telling me, show me anything. I had to learn all this stuff on the fly. And then of course my mom, she worked, she wasn't teaching us about money, and she was just trying to survive, keep a roof over our head, food on the table and things like that. So a lot of stuff that, I think I learned just like you said, trial and error, or just on the job training. But and then sometimes some people, you just have something in you, it's just in you to do. And it's kind of hard to explain. But and we all have pitfalls. Cause I think we all went to college and we all got inundated with those little credit card people when you're on college campus and you're thinking, oh yeah, I'm gonna get me a credit card. Oh, I'm excited. And you go get your credit card and you got your little student worker job, or your student, I don't know what's called student worker job. The little job you had to, you got financial aid, but you had to work too. Oh, your work study job. Yeah. So, you excited, getting the credit card. Oh yeah, girl, I got my credit card, and you going out, you putting your credit card down. Hey, I got it. It's on me, or are you happy? And then you shopping, and because you're on your own now, and you get spend your own money, and you buying stuff that you liked when you was living with your mama, but you couldn't afford the stuff. And now you got a credit card. You think you can afford all this stuff. You're going out, you're buying. And you buy it, and nobody tells you about the interest rate on the credit card. They just in your face, with this little pamphlet on the college campus, and you get I'm qualified. You like, oh, you be excited, like, oh my God, I got a credit card. Oh, I must be good. I must be, that kind of thing, not knowing anything. And then next thing you know, maxed out the credit card. Then they're gonna give you another credit card. Then max that one out, and then now you got this debt. So now you're trying to figure out how to get out of debt, and then you're paying. It says, oh, $20 a month. So everybody's like, okay, I'm gonna pay $20 a month, not knowing that you ain't making a dent in that debt, and the interest is piling on, and then you're overwhelmed, and it's like, oh my God, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? And I think that's a cycle in our community. It happens a lot, and it's still happening, and it's happening with people that have jobs. They just we haven't been taught about money the way I think we should,
How do we get out of this cycle of bad spending habits and get ourselves to a place where we are saving money?
So it's a simple answer, but it's a very hard answer, right? It's behavior. How do I, when I think about my son and what I can teach him, he's over all of my teaching sessions, especially around money. But the one thing I can try to reinforce, which will help him later on, which is an issue with most adults, is delaying gratification, right? How do I just take a pause when I'm ready to pay for something or I want something? How do I stop for a minute to see if I actually need it? To see if maybe I don't charge it and just wait a little bit and save up to pay for it. Like something as simple as that changes your whole financial picture. It's the behavior. It's very easy to spend money. I mean, we're a consumer-driven economy. This country needs us to spend money for it to be successful. So it's very easy. The system is set up so that you do spend money all the time, and it's very easy to do that. So having the the wherewithal to sort of pause and not take those spending actions and make the saving actions more automatic. It's something that takes time, but that's how we change. And it has very little to do with the things that people think it has to do with. Like, oh, I invested in X stock years ago and I made all this money. And that's awesome. But that is usually not the case for most people. And that's not how most people build wealth, right?
Let me ask you this real quick. There are people that will say, well, let me take this cash out, and instead of using my credit card, this is my budget. I'm just going to use this cash. And when this cash is gone, I have no more spending money. Is that a smart way to do things, or is there a different way to stay on budget once you get a budget?
So that's a simple way to do it, and that will work, right? It's sort of saying to yourself, this is how much I'm able to spend on whatever. And staying within that limit is super important, and knowing that you're not going to go past that limit. And if you do, there's no more left for you per se. I do something like that. But that works for people who need to be that aggressive. That may not be the case for everybody. And that may be the way you start, but then later on, giving yourself more flexibility because you get used to spending in that way, or at least staying within a budget. Then it doesn't have to feel so punitive, right? It's the feeling that people get limiting themselves to that extent that makes it unsustainable. It's been so long that you could, live your life in such a rigid way, especially when the people around you are not living that way. It makes it really, really hard to participate socially. But then, sometimes young people are really interesting because when you think of Gen Z and sort of the financial environment that they're used to, or that they think is normal, right? They have found ways to sort of budget and manage their money that's been really interesting to me in particular. So they have this thing called loud budgeting, which is my favorite thing that has come out of TikTok. It's just that you say to the people around you, hey, this is how much I'm spending this month. Or this is how much I have to spend this week. Or these are what my priorities are. These people care about you. They're going to honor those goals and those sort of boundaries that you put up. And you'll be less likely to be in a situation where you may be spending outside or doing things that go against your goals than if you didn't say something. So for example, I'm in an executive MBA program. I mean, there's a lot of people in a different financial situation than me, and they are very comfortable with spending, $400 or $500 a night after class. And no, like I would never do that. Maybe once in a while, but no, not like on a regular night.
And I guess that has to do with their environment and their, their financial situation. But it's funny you said that about the Gen Zs, how it's called loud budgeting. And see, they're from a different time, different generation. Some of us, like you said, that's something, I'm never, we were taught, if we ain't got no money, we ain't gonna let you know we ain't got no money.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, I tell you what I'm saying. I ain't girl, all I got $50 today to spend. Girl, that's not what our generation. Well, we weren't brought up that way. It's all about being private. If the lights got cut off at your house, you weren't telling your best friend down the street, "Oh, our lights is cut off." You're not saying that kind of stuff. You're not saying, "Oh, my mama can't afford to pay the light bill or do that." We weren't open like that. But like you said, this younger generation, they are, I guess, more open, and they'll say stuff like that. But it's like, I'm not gonna go out. Tanya say, "Let's go out to lunch." And I said, "Girl, I only got $20 to spend on this lunch, and we at a nice restaurant in Redondo Beach." I ain't never gonna say that, I'm like, no, and even if my budget was I had $20 in my pocket, that was my budget for the day, and we going somewhere, I'm putting that credit card out because guess what? I'm not gonna let Tanya know that, hey, this lunch place was too expensive for me for my budget for this week. So I'm gonna pull that credit card out and go and pay for my drink, my margaritas that I had, because I probably had a couple, and my good Mexican food. I'm gonna go and use my credit card, and I'm gonna say, okay, I'm, you know, I didn't spend that much on the credit card, and that's kind of another cycle. It kind of starts that way, and then, but we don't sometimes we don't know how to stop. We're like, okay, well that felt good, you know, them drinks was good, and when we gonna meet again, you know, and then you're meeting again, and you know,
a couple
like,
more $100 that you didn't have.
Yeah, but
Hey,
I'm going to challenge you, right? So, Tanya, let's say she said to you, you guys are out and you happen to pick a fancy restaurant. She said to you, you know what, Tanya, this is a little out of my budget today. What would you say?
great, because I don't want to spend that much anyways. Let's go down to the sandwich shop.
That's the
I
thing.
got a $2 taco shop down the street, and they margaritas is only $5. We can get 5 tacos and 5 margaritas. Let's go. Like,
See, it's not as bad, and you would have saved yourself hundreds of dollars.
but I'm also someone that for a long time, maybe it is because I have 4 kids, I don't have excessive spending habits on myself. I will do that for other people before I do it for myself. And that to me is a problem also, because I find myself, or me and my husband find ourselves spending an excessive amount on our kids, very little on ourselves, and still the finances get a little tricky, you know? So what are some of the top like trends for women, or top trends in finance period these days, for people to really start saving and investing?
But Tanya, before you answer that, it's the same question you posed to Tanya. If I would have said that and Tanya said it, let's flip it. Now, I'm the type of person, if Tanya would have said that to me, this is me, I would have been said, oh girl, don't worry about it.
I got you.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So
That's
now
like
here it is. I got everybody, and now here it is again. You know, that's another thing that happens. You know, it's like, okay, because it's like, okay, we wanted to go here, you know, so it's like, okay, don't worry about it. I got you. And sometimes I think we can have too many I got you times, and that messes up our finances too.
Yeah. No, that happens too. And hopefully that happens in a way that you can afford to do it. Right. Mm-hmm. If we are doing that and we really can't afford to do it, then that's a different behavior, right? That has nothing to do with money. Right. So, and that's another thing that people don't realize, like our money behaviors have to do with a lot of things that have nothing to do with money.
Right.
So
get therapy, save money.
Yes, most likely. Yeah.
Get therapy.
And talk about the money, right, in therapy, because
absolutely.
That's what.
So some of the trends that people probably are not too aware of, ways that they can save or invest.
So, I mean, you mentioned kids, right? So I have a son, and especially when you grow up in a way where you know there are certain things you're not going to do because there's no money for it, right? Mm-hmm. And when you have kids, you certainly don't want to have them experience the same things. So we seem to be very, very generous when it comes to our kids. But I will say that in that sense, what I have tried to do, which bothers me too, is just waiting a second, right? My son Zach has a new thing every day, every new thing that he wants, a new thing that he wants to do. And most of the time, if I tell him, all right, let's talk about this in a couple of days, he completely forgot about it, and then it never comes up again, and I didn't have to spend the money. But yes, so thinking about planning just a little bit, right? And not rigid planning, saying that I have these barriers that I cannot go over, just going into the thought process of planning how much you intend to spend or want to spend in certain areas of your financial life, including the kids. And that will sort of at least put you in the mindset of thinking about the spending and maybe making better decisions when it comes to the spending. Now, one of the simplest things that we can do is automate. Technology has gotten so much better when it comes to saving and investing. If you automate your savings and your investing, it'll be more likely that you actually do it. If you have to go into the process of saying, I'm going to go into my bank account, and then I'm going to go log into my other account, and now I'm going to move money over today, and how much am I going to move? All these little steps that you have to take, that inertia gets, a hold of us, and we probably won't do it. Or we'll find a way to spend the money as opposed to saving or investing it. So using automation is going to be key. Now, automation doesn't work for everybody, because I'm one of these people that over a certain amount of money, you're not automatically taking money out of my account. I need to do it, It makes me very uncomfortable to see large amounts of money coming out of my account. But there are amounts that I'm comfortable with, and I will set those automations so that they go over into the investment account or the savings account automatically. Now, if large amounts bother you, like they do me, I just do the transfers more often, right? So if I say I'm going to send $200 to X account, or maybe I'm dividing that by 4 and it's going once a week so it doesn't bother me as much. Find a way that works for you, but definitely leveraging technology to have things done automatically. So the idea of paying yourself first, that's how you do it. You make sure that payment goes to a place automatically without you having to take the steps.
So my kids have stock accounts now.
Mhm.
That is something my husband and I never had as a kid. Being able to teach them about stocks, and they can check and see how much they've earned or how much Microsoft has lost or things like that on an app is like mind blowing
Yep. So which
for
one do
me
you
to
use?
watch. I'd have to ask him. I think we have a couple of different ones because my oldest son uses one, and then the 3 younger ones, they use something different. But it's just interesting to watch them get excited or not so happy about the stock market. That is crazy. Is that a new trend, or is this just something that a few of us have picked up and, it is what it is?
Well, they have access to a lot of information all the time, right? So if they're on TikTok, if they're on Instagram or going to YouTube, it's going to come up. I use something called Goal Setter for my son, which has an investment account. That's also where he gets his allowance. And what I did with him is that I had him go through an exercise of thinking about all the things that he likes to use, usually video games or some sort of gaming something, and then sort of map that to the companies that produce these products and say, hey, if you like it so much, why don't you invest in it? Do you think this is something that will continue to do well? And that's how he started his investments. The good thing about Goal Setter is that he can't place a trade without my authorization, but he can certainly request it and I accept it afterwards. And then that excitement is built in to seeing how this account has done or these investments have done, especially since they've picked it. Right. And you'd be surprised about what they value. Right. I think when we started this, Fortnite was suing Apple. And he loved Fortnite at the time. And he refused to buy Apple. He was just like, meanwhile, he has every Apple product you can think of. But he refused to buy the stock. And he purchased Microsoft instead, because you mentioned Microsoft. Well, that was an amazing trade, by the way, because it was just very good timing. It was before ChatGPT, and he was extremely proud of himself. And I had nothing to do with that. He did it. So, and even for adults, when you think about if you're going to start investing, obviously you want to get the biggest bang for your buck. So you'll buy things like ETFs that have a whole bunch of stocks in them. But maybe you place 1 or 2 trades for companies that you value or that you think are worthwhile, things that you use every single day. And then you'll find yourself participating more, or at least trying to become more aware as to where your money's going and how it's being invested. But when it's with kids, they just have access to so much more information, more than we could have ever imagined. More than, when I was a kid and I wanted to learn about something, I had, that encyclopedia set that I maybe did not have all the letters because they were expensive, or go to the
like A
library.
through T.
Yes. If you had all the letters, you were rich, as far as I was concerned. So that's how we got information, or from TV or the radio. We didn't get information the same way. They get so much information at an instant. So they if they're interested, they're going to learn more. Plus, there are tons of people talking about investing, especially on TikTok. So what I find myself doing is sort of at least getting Zach used to the idea of having these conversations with me, because a lot of the information out there is not true or inaccurate. So making sure he understands these things.
So for someone that is either getting ready to retire or have retired and find themselves maybe not in the financial situation that they wanted to be in, or that they'd like to be in relatively soon, what is your best advice for them?
So sometimes our feelings are not reality. right? So going through the actual steps and practice of how much do I have available? How is it invested? What can I expect to return? What returns are expected from this bucket of money? What are my expenses, our real expenses? And then going through a list of what's more important to you. Sometimes, I mean, retirement has taken on a different tone, and people do different things in retirement now. When I was younger, I thought retirement meant that you just stopped working and you stayed home. Maybe you went to Florida. Like, I didn't know anything outside of that. But I know a lot of people who are in retirement, and that becomes the opportunity for them to do the things that they want to do as opposed to what they have to do. And that's the best way to bring in revenue, doing something that you love to do as opposed to something that you have to do. And I know a lot of folks who are either semi-retired or have some sort of economic freedom where they can just sort of shift time and resources to something that they really want to do, and they're able to bring in additional revenue that way or additional income that way. But I would say taking into account what is it that you actually want to spend your money on, taking a good look at your resources and maybe reallocating them so that way you can achieve the things that you want to do during retirement is the first step. And sometimes we have a feeling that we don't have enough, and you feel that way because you don't know. So just sort of going through that very annoying and time consuming step that most people don't like to do.
And is that something that you personally can help people do? And if so, how do they get in touch with you?
Yeah, so at WealthMore, it's an amazing platform that obviously offers investment accounts. But the best part of WealthMore and their offering is that we do have certified financial planners there that can walk you through those steps and guide you, right? They're not expensive. So a typical financial planner, certified financial planner in particular, I mean, the lowest I've ever seen financial planning services is about $2,500. And that's probably really, really minimal in terms of an output, but you could spend tens of thousands of dollars working with a financial planner. Our highest tier plan is $1,500 a year. So you have access to someone who can walk you through those steps and start planning. I mean, that's the hardest part, is starting. And for women in particular, we have two things going on at the same time usually. So Tanya, Gia, we have parents, right? So we end up taking care of kids. And if you're not taking care of your parents, you are aware of that responsibility. And there may be that may cost you in some sort of way financially. It's certainly going to cost you time, right? And dealing with that's an extra effect of retirement for women or women nearing retirement. That's just the reality, right? And depending on your cultural background, there are plenty of Americans who don't feel that sort of responsibility. But I know in my community, it is a huge responsibility. We would not put our parents in nursing homes unless it was absolutely necessary. And if you did, guess what? In New York, a nursing home was about $15,000 a month. So who's going to pay for that? So those sort of additional pressures as we get older and we still have children are real pressures. And that means that maybe we have conversations with our parents that maybe they don't like to have with you. I mean, my mother has ignored me plenty of times until she had no choice but to have the conversations. But yeah, so we have all these extra things to consider outside of ourselves. But I would say you can't take care of anyone if you don't take care of yourself, right? So putting yourself first in terms of health is super, super important, because just because we tend to be the people that take care of everyone else doesn't mean that we will dismiss it because culturally is what it's expected of us. We care about our families. That's why we do the things that we do. That's not going to stop. So how do we do it in a way where we're healthy, we're able to be in retirement, financially healthy as well, and take care of our family members?
Yeah, I get therapy, save money.
Therapy, yes. Therapy helps.
Get therapy, save money. Let people know how they can get in touch with you, stay in touch with you, and get some help after they get therapy.
Yeah. Sometimes planners are therapists. But I'm going to wealthmore.net. So that's WealthMore.net. Just go onto the website and sign up and get started.
Awesome. Well, we appreciate you being here. Anything else, Gia, before we get out of here?
All I would say, Tanya, you talked about a lot of good things, and being a person who's recently retired, what I would say to people is that what I did when I got to my 5-year, you have a idea when you want to retire, and when I was in my got close to my 5 years, when it was 5 years to me retirement, I started really reevaluating things and I started really analyzing a lot of stuff, and I made a plan. And my plan was to, by the time I retired, I didn't want to have any credit card debt. I did things like that. Let me pay off all my credit cards, because in my mind was when I retire, that's it. This is my income. When you work, you have a chance to make more money because you have overtime and things like that. But when you retire, it's okay, this is it. This is going to be, until, I leave this world. So I did things like that. I started, prioritizing different things and writing things down and I made a plan. And sometimes you make the plan and the plan don't always work out the way you make the plan, but at least I had an idea. I was constantly thinking about things within those 5 years, to do this and do that, and stuff. And then now, since I've been in retirement, things I didn't think about while working. I'm gonna give you an example. The other day, we get mail. I'm a type of person. I'm a creature of habit. I know this is my car insurance. This is, I got car insurance. So when they send you a renewal, I never really look at it because they take it automatically out of my checking account, my car, insurance. I happened to open up the envelope to get the new insurance cards, and I actually started reading, and I saw how much money I was paying in car insurance, and I almost went into cardiac arrest. Okay, I was like, what? And then I started really thinking, wait a minute, this was only for a 6-month period, and I was like, and then I started thinking, okay, wait a minute. So I'm like, they've been getting over on me. I started thinking all kind of stuff, and I'm thinking, but why did I start? I'm insuring 4 cars, but I don't even drive maybe 1 or 2 of them. Yeah. Okay. So then it's I started thinking, okay, but I had been saying before I needed to get rid of the cars. But when I opened up that insurance bill, it was oh no, this got to stop today, stuff. Wait a minute, and it's things like that you don't think about, because when you're working, you like you said, you got stuff coming out automatically and all this kind of stuff, and I got car insurance, I got this, I got that. But I was like, wait a minute, I'm paying this much money. I said, so it was like a reality check. Wait a minute, Gia, this is not supposed to be happening to you, especially in retirement. Why are you giving this company all this money? No. So you have to really start analyzing all your stuff. Look at everything,
Just open all you did was open a letter, right? All you did was open an envelope. Yeah. It was maybe just that, right? Just
trigger
these things, read it, right?
Yeah, it's right, and I started looking. I was like, wait a minute. It was one car. These cars are old. I got cars that are 2000. Okay, why am I paying? It's really 2012, and my insurance is this much on this car. This is, and they're not they luxury cars. That's what I'm saying. So it's I was oh yeah, y'all getting over on me. So I was on the phone with the agent yesterday. I said, we got to talk about some stuff. Okay.
But I would like to add one more thing, and Gia touched on it for me, is that you said you've had this insurance for X amount of time, right? Who knows how long you've been covering cars that you didn't even really want or need. But the one thing, the most important component to building wealth or even retirement is time, and we can't get it back once it's lost. You can pay for it, right? We can pay for it, which means just deferring, right? Paying for other people to do things that gives you time to do the things you want to do or things that are more important. But the sooner we come to the realization that we want to plan or we want to have a certain sort of life in the future, the better off we are in taking those steps, because years go by and we can't get them back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We appreciate you being here, Miss Tanya, and we love your firm. We've had, I think your CEO was here with us before. Mikal, she's hilarious. We had a great time.
Awesome.
We have a little football back and forth thing going on, but got to touch base with her, Miss Philly. Yeah, so with all that being said, I want to thank you for being here. Appreciate you providing, dropping some gems for us and giving us something to think about, and definitely encouraging folks to go get therapy.
Yes.
All right, guys. Thank you again, Tanya.
Bye-bye.
Bye. So what'd you think? Where'd you go? What'd you think?
Hey, I'm here.
What'd you think?
It was really actually it was really good. We should probably have her back again to periodically, just to talk about, to keep everybody on task, because that's the thing. We'll start something today or think about something today, but because we start life, and life starts life, and sometimes we forget about those things, and maybe having a reminder, a refresher, or just let's go back and and reassess. Okay, we talked about this 6 months ago. Where you guys at? Where the people, ask people where they at in their goals, in their financial goals, and did they set any goals, and things like that. So it was good. I really enjoyed it.
I think we should bring her back and then go ahead and talk about maybe the state of our economy right now and things that people can do. But we definitely will look into bringing someone else back to talk about those things. We want to thank you guys for being here, and we look forward to definitely getting into some of those other conversations that we missed today. But we'll be back next week. So thank you for being here. My Morning Coffee. Make sure you subscribe on Spotify or YouTube, and share this with someone could use the gems. And until next time, see ya.
Peace.